Let's get as much volume out of this as we can. Right then, on the lathe I have a 12-inch piece of tiger, right? The problem with it is it's quite thin. It's only 2.5 inches thick, right? I did one of these bowls ages ago on video, and I'm going to do another one. Right, basically these sell very, very well, right? And I'm out of stock of them, so I need to do another one, right? And I'll do this one for people who haven't seen the other video, and I'll stick a link to the other video up there in case anybody's interested in watching the other one. Right, so right, I've got it on a faceplate. I've rounded it off. Basically there's a slight crack just there, and there was a hole I filled there. First thing I got to do is I got to make sure that this side here is perfectly flat and has a very good cut on it. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a side bevel cut on it. With both a push and a pull. Just to make sure it's flat and that there's a good cut on it. I'm going to take off any CA that I put on as well. Just a slight little bit there. The whole trick when you're doing this is to remember that your rounding off cut is actually your finished cut. So you've got to get it right. Yes, that is cut perfectly, right? See the slight crack in it there. We'll put a little bit of CA in there. As I said, your leveling off cut when you're doing these is your finished cut. So you have to be extremely careful with it. You have to get it perfect. Now that will sand out. So not too worried about that. There's a slight crackle on there. That one is fine. Right then, let that dry. And we'll continue on from there. Right, we'll be going down here next. Right then, I have the air shield on. Let me face this off. Very slightly low on it. Now I want a mortise in this. And I'm also going to want a foot on it. Pull back slightly too close for a parting tool. Into the edge. Now, I want a foot on this as well, but the rule of thirds with something like this, something this size, right? If you're doing one of these bowls doesn't work, you want half. And so half is about there. It's because of the flat shape, you want half, even sometimes over a little half. So the lower half is better. Right. Now basically that's your cutting done, apart from putting the dovetail in. That's your cutting done on the outside of this bowl. So you're trying to maximize the volume on the inside of the bowl. So now what I'm going to do is sand and finish the outside of this as soon as I cut that foot in, right? Which I nearly forgot to do that, right? Sorry, my brain's working way ahead here. I nearly forgot to just cut it across there and bring that foot in. But the only thing to remember here is what you would normally be using is roughing foot, are actually your finished foot. Right, and that's all I need. Now I will sand and finish the outside of this. So I'll do that. I'm going to be back in a sec. Right, then just a quick trick while you're sanding. Right, you want to turn that edge into a slight curve. You don't want it dead solid. You can either cut it beforehand, or you can do what my preference is, and as I'm sanding I just roll around that corner and it just takes that sharp edge off it. I'm on 150 here, and you'd be amazing how quick you can just take that sharp edge off that. Right, so I'll go back to sanding and I'll be back with the Yorkshire Grit Bit. Right then, this week's Yorkshire Grit Bit. Now I have shortened this one down as much as I can because the whole legend is actually really long. Right, and this is just like a summary of it kind of thing. If you're interested in the full one, I would Google it. if I was you. Right, this week's Yorkshire Grit Bit is the children of Lear. Right, and believe it or not, the ballet Swan Lake is actually based on this story. So, right, a long time ago, in the era of the two Edelman, Ireland had no high king, right? And of course, with no high king, conflict had ensued. There was war. Right? Two men came up as kind of the best candidates, if you will. Right? There was Lear of Derrybar and Bol Darragh of Munster. Now, the deciding factor in this was, believe it or not, were they married? Could they provide heirs? And out of the two of them, Bol Darragh was the only one who was married. So he was crowned the High King. Now, fearing that Lear would revolt against him, Bol Darragh invited Lear to a gathering to make peace. Now, the gathering lasted for days. And towards the end of it, Bol Darragh asked Lear which one of his three daughters had caught Lear's eye, to which he very quickly responded that Eve was the most stunning woman he had ever laid eyes on, with a good heart and a strong personality. Soon after that, Lear and Eve were married, which was Bol Darragh's plan all the time. Lear couldn't very well rise up against the father of his wife. Now, could he? Right. Lear and Eve fell in love and they lived happily. And then after a while, the children began to be born. First came Finola, a beautiful daughter. Then came Ed, a fine, strong boy to carry on the family name. Right. Eve again fell pregnant, this time with twins. But Eve died during birth to twin boys, Cun and Fiachra. Right. Lear basically fell into a depression due to the death of his beloved wife, and he asked Bol Darragh for help. Bol Darragh, fearing again that without Lear being married to a daughter, sent a second daughter to help bring up the children. Right. This time he sent Aoife. Right. After some time, she and Lear were married, as was Bol Darragh's plan. But Aoife very quickly became jealous of the attention Lear gave to his children and hatched an evil plan. Right. Unbeknownst to Lear, Aoife had dabbled in the magic of the Dark Druids and planned to get rid of his children. Now, she knew that she couldn't kill them or Lear would never forgive her. So one day, she brought the children down to the shores of Loch Derrybar and let them go swimming. Now, Loch Derrybar is actually a beautiful place. When I was young, that's where myself and my mates used to go fishing. I've actually swam in the lake. Lovely spot. Strangely enough though, there's nothing on the shores of the lake that mentions the children of Lear. You'll find it in the village, but not in the shores of the lake, which is really weird. Now, it has been 40 years maybe since I've been there, so it might be there now. I don't know. Right, so back to the story. Right. Right. As they were in the water, Aoife cast her course and she transformed the children into swans, but she left their human voices. The children begged her to change them back, and this little bit of regret sank into Aoife's soul. She couldn't undo the course, but she could place an end time on it, basically a time limit. So she changed the course so that the children would live as swans for 900 years. 300 on Loch Derrybar, 300 on the sea that separated Ireland and Scotland, and the final 300 years on another lake. Now, it depends basically on where you hear this story, where that other lake is. Right? Like down here there's a local lake. I'd say every county you go into, the third, they will try and climb the third lake. So I'll leave the third lake up to yourself. Right. Now, after many trials, and that's where the length of this story comes, so that's the bit I'm skipping, is all these trials. With the 900 years coming to an end, when a monk named Malachi went to live in solitude on an island in the middle of this third lake. The swans sang beautiful songs to him, and he learned of their course. Now, one day a messenger arrived to Malachi. The new High King's daughter was getting married, and she'd heard the legend of the swans who sang with human voices, and she wanted these swans to sing at her wedding. And the king had ordered them captured. Right. His soldiers netted the swans, but as soon as they were dragged onto dry land, the course was broken, and they were back to human form. On seeing this, the soldiers fled in fear, and Malachi ran to the children. Age rapidly began to take hold of the children, and they slowly began to die of old age. Finola begged Malachi to baptise them so they could go to heaven, which she did, and with her last breath she asked them to bury them together. Ed lying under her chest, Con under her right arm, and Fakra under her left, the same way she used to protect them when they were swans by putting them under her wings. Now, as I said, that is just a very quick version of this legend, because I'd have been talking for the entire video to do the full legend of it. It's a good one to look up, and it's also one of the saddest legends that Ireland has. Right? You'll see a lot of references to the children of Ireland. Like if you go to the Garden of Remembrance, there's a massive sculpture of the swans at one end of it, and there's loads of references to it. Alright, so I'll get on with this, and I'll be back when I'm doing the wax. So, see you in a few minutes. Alright, then just broken the wax off. Now, anybody who's into fishing and happens to go to Loch Carabara, there's a very good spot. Now, on the shores of the lake, on one shore of the lake, there's a lot of caravans and stuff, right? And you can camp there, or you used to be able to. I don't know if you still can. But basically, with your back to the caravans, looking out on the lake, right, there's a slip down towards the right, right? But if you go out on a boat now, you really do need a boat out in Darabara, right? If you kind of go round the left-hand side of the lake, there's a channel. Right, it's about a 5-10 minute row to get there. There's a channel. In that channel is a really hot spot. Right, you can walk to the channel, but it's easier by boat, because you got to go through kind of a marshy bog place to walk to it. But obviously the boat's much easier. But that's the hot spot in Darabara. It's for anybody who happens to be into fishing and ends up there. Right, there's the outside of the bowl done. Right, that's quite nice, actually. I like that bit. Right, we flip it around and get to the point of this video, which is how to get the most volume on the inside of a skinny blank. So I'll flip it over, back in a sec. Right, then we're flipped over. First thing we're going to do is, of course, face it off. Right, check around the cut all the way around. We are not, just there. It's very slight, but it's there. Now we're done. There's a slight chunk out of there, but it shouldn't affect it any. Next, what I want to do is, as normal, define the width of the bowl, but this time it's perfectly straight in. Right. This cut is probably the most important one you do. Do not try and do that cut in one, because you will catch. Right. You just follow down to that, to the depth of that cut. When you're down a bit, take the cut in more, keeping it straight and parallel. And go again. Now what you can do there on the outside is you can back hollow to it, to that cut. Just got to be very careful when you're doing it. You just follow away. And again. And you work your way down the bowl doing that. You gotta watch here for very much so is your depth. Curved bowls are much more forgiving than flat ones. Check how deep I am. So the thing you gotta watch here definitely is your depth. Plenty. Right. Now we're down at about the depth, because what you got to remember is there's a mortise in there and there's a foot on this, so we're pretty close to the depth there. So I'm going to sharpen the gouge again, and we're going to get to the bits that people have problems with these bowls. I'm getting in pretty close as I can get it without hitting. Now, where people have the problems with these bowls is getting the flat bottom and this transition corner here. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to transition first. Now what I want to do is I want to get in there and I want to I want to go down that side and kind of pull cut away from it. Now you got to be very careful here. If you catch that inside wing, this is going to fly. So you want to slowly walk into kind of like a little pull cut there in that corner. And that will get you a flat start, right? And then going across, you stay above center. Above center always. Right, if you stay above the center, right, if you stay that's your normal cutting distance. You want to be cutting up here. That will let you travel across riding the bevel flat. Now I'm going to straighten this tool rest out to give me a guide. And I'm going to start going across, staying high. See the way I'm well above centre there. That's going to give me the ability to travel across, staying flat. And take small bites. Do not try and take this whole thing on the end. Now when you get to about here, you start going down. Towards the middle. You're riding the bevel and it will keep everything flat for you. And there we have a flat base. Now there's a slight bump just there that I need to get rid of. You can feel it. There's a slight bump just there. Hang on, what's that? Just there. See it? Right, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to sort that out first. Right then, just buffing the wax off. All I did there was I filled that hole, gave it a quick scraper and I got a right scraper and sanded it. Now I'm just buffing the wax off. And it turned out very nice indeed. That section's lovely. Right, I'll take it off and give you a better look at it. So, we'll be back in a sec. Right, and there we have it. How to maximise the volume on a thin blank if you want to do a big bowl. A doggish bowl is the way to do it. That ended up at just under 2.25 inches on the outside and a little over just over 2 inches in depth. And I think it turned out quite pretty. It's a useful technique to have in your back pocket if you've got a blank that's not that wide but you want a large volume bowl in it. So if you enjoyed that one, if you would mind clicking like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one.